Hi, my name is Seti and welcome back to the channel where we make educational technology easy for you. In today's video, we're going to be continuing our complete overviews of Microsoft Office apps with Microsoft Forms. So let's dive into it with another flipped classroom tutorial. First things first, let's open up our Edge browser and let's have a look at Office. So we're going to open up that Edge browser and we're going to navigate to office.com. If you're signed in, you will see all your files right there and your apps on the left hand side. That's where we're going to find forms, and that's also how we are going to create a new forms. Now, forms live in the cloud and they are a great way of getting feedback, responses whenever you're planning something, or even as a tool for assessments in the classroom. Now, the forms icon has a little F for forms, so here on the left hand side you'll find forms right there at the bottom. So let's go ahead and click on that, and as we usually see with Office apps, it opens up a new screen. Now, this screen gives us a number of options. Here at the top we'll see our recently created forms. We can create a new form by clicking on that plus icon at the top, or we select the drop down arrow and then we get the option to create a quiz. Now, a quiz is a very specific type of form and I'll tell you more about that later. For now, have a look at the bottom and you'll see that your groups have been pulled in, and you can also see how many forms have been previously shared with these groups. Here you can see there's a demo study group and they have one form. So when I click on that, I see the form that is linked to this group. This is a great way of keeping track of all the forms created within Microsoft Teams, and also this way you can reuse these forms when you have to. Let's say I want to reuse this one. Well, I can simply click on those three dots right there and I can copy that form. Now let's go back to the first main page and let's start creating our very first form from scratch. So at the top I'm going to select New Form. This opens up a new tab and we are now in the form editor. Here we can add our questions, we can select which type of question it is, and then we can also choose how to distribute our form. So the first thing I'll do is title my form. I'm going to call this my demo form, and then a description is a demonstration of how to use Microsoft Forms. Now, say you want to make your form look a little bit nicer, you can always click on the icon right here and insert an image as well alongside that title. For now, we're going to leave it as it is, and we're going to start adding some questions into our form. Now, this is very straightforward and easy to do because you can see there's a big button right there that says Add New, and this allows us to add different question types. The first is a multiple choice type. We have a text type, a rating, a date, but when you click on that drop down option, you'll see that you can also add any of these other types. We're going to have a look at the first four types, and then I'm also going to show you the section and why you may choose to use the section. So let's start by using a multiple choice. I'm going to ask the students, which class are you in? And they can select year 1, year 2, or year 3. Now, in some cases you'll want to allow users to also insert their own options, so we can add an other option as well. When I do that, the user will be able to insert their other option. Now, there are a number of different things here at the bottom that we can now toggle on, so we can have multiple answers. Now, because it's a year group, they can only choose a single year group, but say that this was their favorite food or maybe different choices that they want to select. You can allow your students to have multiple answers within a multiple choice. We're not going to choose that for this type of question right now. And we can also toggle on the required option. This means that they have to respond to this question. If they do not respond to the question, they cannot go on to the next one. I'm going to leave this off as well. Now, you will notice those three dots right there, and this is for more advanced functionality. One of the most used ones here is the shuffling. So let's say that you click on these three dots, I can shuffle the various options. Now, in the case of the year group selection, I'm going to leave it as it is. I don't want these shuffled. But if you're using this for assessments or a way of just checking in with your students and you don't want everyone to have the same exact order, well, then you can use this to shuffle those different options. In addition to that, you can also have a drop-down choice rather than the ticking boxes. So I'm going to select drop-down, and you can see that we now have the options right here, and when we preview the file, it will look like a drop-down. So let's go ahead and preview our forms. Going to click on preview, and as you can see, which class are you in? and we get a drop down with those different options. If I select other, I can enter my own answer. Okay, we like this. We're going to go back. Let's go back to the editor and let's change the drop down and let's make it a regular multiple choice type. Let's go ahead and click on preview now, and you can see this has a very different look. This will allow you to really tweak the way your questions look on your forms. Let's go ahead and go back, and let's add a second type of question. This time we're going to add a text question. What is your name? And then we're going to simply allow them to enter their answer. Now again, we can make this a long answer, which is a paragraph, or keep it as a short answer. Now, the long answer option is great when you're doing reflection activities and they have to reflect on their lessons or on something they've learned. However, for the name, we're going to keep it as a short answer. Now, each question type has its own advanced options. So here, when we click on the three dots, we can see subtitle, restriction, and branching. Now, branching was also available within the multiple choice, and we'll look at that in a minute. But restrictions and subtitle, these are very specific. Now, restrictions is going to limit the type of response that you will accept in this text box. Now, because we're asking for a name, we can't use restrictions, but let's go ahead and ask for their age and then use that restrictions to limit their responses. We're going to add a new question type, text. We're going to ask, how old are you? And then we're going to select those three dots. We're going to go to the restrictions, and then we are going to restrict this to a number, or we can select any of these other options. So we could even say between, say, 2 and 10, because we've only selected those year groups, and then you can have this as an additional check. Let's go ahead and add a third question type, and this will be a rating. So let's just ask them to rate our previous lesson. So how did you enjoy the lesson? It's great for feedback, and again, it gives you as a teacher a chance to really tweak your lessons and keep them engaging, fun, and show students that you also accept feedback as well as give it. Now we can choose a number of different levels. We can go all the way up to 10. I'm going to select 10, and then these symbols can either be a number or a star. I quite like the star option. Again, those three dots are there for some advanced options. You can see we have subtitle, label, and branching. Now again, branching was also present in the other subtitle as well. Now subtitle will give a little bit more explanation. So let's just add a subtitle. Please select a star. There we go. Let's go ahead and preview our forms. You can see we have our first question second. How old are you? Let's go ahead and input 20. You can see it gives me an error. It has to be between 2 and 10. So we can change that. And then how did you enjoy the lesson? And then it gives me that subtitle, please select a star. So the subtitle can be used on any question type to give additional information about what you are asking your students to do. And then we can select these right here. Now another thing you will have noticed is that as I hover over these questions, we have that immersive reader. So that means that we can activate the immersive reader. I've done an entire video on the immersive reader, and this immersive reader will then read out the question and really help your students to understand what they are trying to answer. So let's go ahead and click on back, and let's go back to the editor. We're going to add a new type, and this time instead of a question type, we're going to add a new section. Now this section can also be given a title, an image, and again a description. So let's call this the Year 1 Answers. What is your favorite topic? Now in Year 1 they can choose between maths and English. Okay, we're now going to add a third section, and this third section will be for the Year 2 students. So let's go ahead and add a new section. There we go, section. We're going to call this the Year 3 Answers. Going to add the same question there. We're going to have a multiple choice, and this will be, what is your favorite topic? We're going to have maths and English. But we also have that third one, which is going to be design. So let's say that our Year 1 students can only choose between maths and English. Our Year 2 students can choose between maths, English, and also design. Well, this is where branching will come in. So let's go back to our very first question where it says, which class are you in? Let's select that question and go to those three dots. Now we're going to select branching. So here, when you see this branching, I'm going to click on that. And if they select year 1, well, then they will jump to the section on year 1 answers. If they've selected year 2, we will end the form. If they've selected year 3, well, then they will jump to the year 3 answers. So here we have section 3, year 3. This is a great way of creating your own versions of choose your own adventure, or also really tweaking the type of questions that you are asking from your students. This is the branching for the first section, first question. Let's scroll down and make sure that our other branching is also accurate. So here at the end of this, are we going to go to the next one? No, we're going to end the form, otherwise they automatically go on to section 2. Section 2, once they've ended this, we are going to end the form as well. And once they've answered all the questions in section 3, we are going to end the form. This should all work now, so let's go ahead and click on back. We're going to preview our form. As you can see, I can scroll all the way down. I have my first question, and I'm going to select that I'm in year 1. Let's click on next, and this instantly jumps me to that year 1 answer. What is your favorite topic? I'm going to answer maths and then click on submit, and that's the end of our form. Now, if you remember from setting up our form, we had more questions in that first section. Well, we can always jump back to those. Now, as you saw, because we've added that branching, we no longer see the following questions. And that's where it's important to really think about where you are going to add your branches. Are you going to have a single section where you first ask for the class and then a second section with your main questions? Or are you going to ask everything in section 1 and then make a decision after that section? So what I want to do now is I want to move some of these questions into a separate section so that my students still get to answer these. Well, I can click on this question, and with these arrows right here, I can move this down or up. So I'm going to move this down into the second section. There we go. What is your name and what is your favorite topic? Now, as you can see, section 3 doesn't have that question, so I'm going to copy it. Here we have the option to copy our question. We have now copied this question and we can move it down into section 3. Let's move that down, and that's that. Let's go ahead and preview our form. We're going to click on preview. We have our first question. Which year group are you in? Let's select year 1 next. And then we have what is your name and your favorite topic. So using these little tricks will really enable you to create some amazingly powerful forms, and Microsoft Forms makes it super easy to set these up. Now let's say that your form is ready to be distributed and you want to share it with your students. Well, let's go back to the editor, and here at the top you will see we can share our form. Now let's go ahead and click on share, and then here are the different options. You can either allow people in your organization to answer, or you can allow anyone with a link to respond. I'm going to select that one, and then we can copy that link. Now we can also use a QR code, have it embedded onto a website, or email it directly to people. We can get that link to duplicate the form, which is sharing as a template, great for when you're working with colleagues and you've set something up and you'd like them to use a similar format, or we can collaborate with others and they can help us set up our form. Incredibly powerful sharing options right here. Now let's say you don't like the look of your form. Well, then there is one more thing that we can look at, and that is up here, our theme. So when you select your theme, you can select any of these colors. You can even select a cartoony theme for the background, or click on the plus icon and change it altogether to be your very own customized theme. All good and well, we've now sent this form, we've got some responses. Where do we see the responses? Well, they will be here in this second tab, the responses tab. Here we will see how many responses have come in, how long it took everyone to fill this out, and also if our form is still active or not. Now, if you want to do even more with those results, you can always click on the button down here, open in Excel, and this will send all your responses into an Excel sheet, and then you can do some more work with that within Excel. We also have those 3 dots again, and this allows us to either delete all responses, start over, print a summary, or create a summary link that can then be shared with your SLT or even a colleague or phase leader. Now, I hope you found this video helpful. Now, for even more tips and tricks on Microsoft's tools, click on one of the suggested videos you see on screen. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.